Thank you, Chair Cahill and members of this esteemed committee. I appreciate your time and patience. My name is Judith Garcia. I am proudly the State Representative of Chelsea and Everett, and today I am joined by the City Manager of our mighty city, a constituent, and Gladys Vega, who has been a tireless advocate for our immigrant community throughout the state. And you have heard from many of my esteemed colleagues from the Massachusetts Black and Latino Caucus details about this bill. And I want to highlight the fact of how incredibly blessed and grateful I am to finally, thanks to many of you here present, having the numbers in the House and in the Senate to have Latino and Black representation to be able to write bills that represent the needs of the communities that we live in and that we represent. It is so important. I was born in this country, but I was raised by a proud single mother who emigrated from Honduras, a Central American country. And she came here with the vision, like many of the people seated here behind, to contribute to this nation, to work hard. And I'm proud of that. But today, our community is being faced with a very challenging time. Residents that I represent go to our Chelsea District Court to deal with cases that have nothing to do with immigration, that are simply cases about child custody, divorces. Maybe they didn't pay a credit card bill, and they're there because their local bank wants their money back. And they attend these courts, and they are surprised with federal agents arresting them and taking them, and loved ones not being able to reach them even for weeks. And I share this testimony because, as you may have heard earlier from Chair Andy Vargas, I was tasked on being on the immigration task force. It was 4 members who intimately were in charge throughout the summer to craft a bill that made sense, that we could present to you all. And we did that. And as part of that process, I visited the Plymouth Detention Center, where I sat with constituents who were detained for months. And there was a constituent who shared. He had a hearing at a court to deal with his immigration case, and he was not able to go to that court hearing because he had been arrested. I also had a constituent who had been there for weeks, months, without being able to communicate with their loved ones. I also spoke to attorneys who have not been able to contact their clients. And the PROTECT bill, the PROTECT Act, presents to change that. We offer not only protection in our courts, but also finding ways to have loved ones locate their loved ones sooner, not have to wait 2 weeks. We also offer inbound calls for attorneys to be able to reach their clients. And all of that was spearheaded thanks to the contributions of many of the people standing behind me wearing orange shirts. So I want to take a moment to thank the individuals that came from Chelsea. Thank you for sharing your stories. Thank you for having the courage to share your own stories, but also the stories of your neighbors and your loved ones. We will also be presenting written testimony of many of the young activists of the city of Chelsea who are in school and cannot speak. But that's enough on my end. I want to take the time to yield some of my testimony to the people that matter most. So let's start off with our city manager, and then we will continue with Gladys Vega and a constituent.
Thank you so much.
Just the microphone.
Thank you, Chair, for having us today and allowing to share our story. My name is Fidel Maltez, and I am the city manager of the city of Chelsea. And I am honored to speak today in strong support of the PROTECT Act. Chelsea is a city of immigrants. Chelsea is a community that was built by immigrants. It's a community that is made strong by immigrants, and it is sustained by immigrants. But in the past year, our immigrant identity, our immigrant pride, our diversity, and our entire community has been under attack. Over the past year, children have left the Chelsea public schools. These are classrooms with empty seats, classmates without their friends, school buses with fewer riders, little leagues missing players. These are families, mothers and fathers like me and you, who came to America in search of opportunity, like my mother did, like so many of our parents did, our grandparents did, and great-grandparents did. Yet they are gone because they are afraid to leave their homes, to go to work, and send their children to school. My mother left Nicaragua escaping civil war in the 1980s. She was escaping poverty and in search of the beloved American dream. She did not leave for her. She left to find a better life for her children. And today, her children are thriving in our great America. One is a small business owner, one is an office manager at a nonprofit, and one is standing before you today as the city manager of the smallest city in Massachusetts. My mother is incredibly courageous, and it is because of her courage and the courage of many mothers in Chelsea that our city is thriving. My story is the story of many of our residents in Chelsea, and it is the story of many of our residents in the Commonwealth. Violent and unconstitutional immigration enforcement is ravaging our community. It is ravaging all of our communities. When families leave, we lose workers in our hospitals. We lose workers in our restaurants, in our construction sites, and in our small businesses. We lose entrepreneurs, we lose taxpayers, and we lose students. One day will power our workforce, who one day will sit before a future committee as city manager of Chelsea. In Chelsea, and dare I say in all of our communities, we cannot afford policies that drive families and young people away. The fear and chaos is causing our residents in Chelsea to be afraid to seek help, to report crimes, to attend routine court hearings because they fear a civil immigration arrest. This hurts our families and erodes the trust in our institutions and our established legal processes. When trust in the system breaks down, it weakens everyone. It weakens our community, and it undermines the fairness of our justice system. The bill that is before you today, the PROTECT Act, will restore that trust. It ensures that local law enforcement, like the Chelsea Police Department, can remain focused on what they are trained and sworn to do, to protect our residents, to be the guardians that we need. The PROTECT Act indeed protects our courthouses so that victims, witnesses, and defendants can participate in the justice system without fear of being targeted by a civil immigration arrest without a judicial warrant. It makes strong our due process, ensuring that individuals have access to counsel, clear notice of their rights, and the ability to attend required court and immigration appointments. And it protects survivors, survivors of crime, survivors of trafficking, by creating a consistent, timely standard for UNT visa certifications so that a survivor's access to protection does not depend on their zip code. The act before you today does not grant immigrants special rights. It reinforces our established constitutional rights that we all have in this country. It does not weaken public safety, it makes it stronger. It strengthens it by preserving the trust between our residents and the institutions that are here to serve all of us. In Chelsea, we know what happens when families feel safe and supported. We open businesses that employ our young people. We spend our hard-earned money in our downtown. We buy homes. We send our children to college. And we contribute to the fabric of our community. The PROTECT Act affirms that Massachusetts and everyone in this Commonwealth remains committed to the rule of law, to due process, and to equal protections under the law. I ask you, I urge you, for the sake of our children, for the strength of our communities, for the future of our cities, and for the integrity of our justice system, pass the PROTECT Act. Thank you for having me, and may God bless the City of Chelsea and the Commonwealth.
Thank you.
Buenas tardes
Thank you so much for hearing our cases and for seeing all the people that are here supporting this bill. My name is Gladys Vega. I am the president of La Colaborativa. But most, ahora?
I want everyone to hear on the
Okay,
back.
but most importantly, I am here with the family sitting behind me and the volunteers that contribute to La Colaborativa. For years, we have worked to protect the most vulnerable members of our community. Hemos construido confianza. We have built trust between the police and the community. We have built relationships block by block, familia por familia. But this past year has been the hardest I have ever witnessed. It feels very heavy. It feels cruel. It feels brutally inhumane. And that is because there's no clear protections under the law. Look around this room today. People took time out of work. Students left classes. Parents rearranged childcare. Our non-Latino volunteers came all the way from Megan to support the work that we are all doing and to witness and bear witness of the injustice. When immigration enforcement interferes with our courts, something dangerous happens. Survivors hesitate to seek services, restraining orders, and workers stay silent about wage debt. We have one of the largest worker centers in the city, in the state. Our workers are now coming to say that their wages are stolen. $700 million in the state of Massachusetts are usually stolen on wage debt. That has minimized, not because that violation is not existent, it's because people are afraid to speaking up. When immigrants trust the system, crimes are reported, survivors speak up. I want to be very brief and mention that yesterday, my director of youth employment, who's also a city council in the city of Chelsea, Norielis de Jesus, had the hardest conversation with a father and a victim of a horrific crime in the city of Chelsea. And after they met with mom, dad, and the victim, the father decided that he's not going to pursue justice for his daughter because he's too afraid of what's going to happen to the family knowing that the father's undocumented. That is not what we have built in our Commonwealth. That was not America, and that's what we see now. So I urge you to please pass the bill, protect our communities, and I will now, and I want to say thank you also for the courage to the Latino and African American caucus. We've been working together quietly for a year on this bill, and I'm so proud that you guys included La Colaborativa, but also that you took the risk of something that is not popular. Muchísimas gracias, Judy, por tu gran trabajo. Gracias.
Thank you,
And
Gladys.
now, I'm going to translate, if you allow me, to this very, very important case.
Buenas tardes.
Buenas tardes.
Mi nombre es Brenda Romero. Soy residente de Chelsea por 12 años. Madre de 3 hijas. Natalie, de 17 años. Jayla, de 10 años. Y Emiliana, de 6 años.
My name is Brenda Romero. I've been a resident of Chelsea for 12 years. I am the mother of 3 daughters, Natalia, who is 17, Jayla, who is 10, and Emiliana, who is 6 years old.
Hace 6 meses mi esposo fue a la corte para su audiencia de inmigración. El juez aprobó su caso de asilo político. Me llamó llorando, pero de alegría. Por fin podíamos decir que vivir en paz y criar nuestras hijas sin un miedo.
6 months, my husband went to court for his immigration hearing. The judge approved his political asylum. He called me crying, tears of joy, telling me we could finally live in peace and continue raising our daughters without fear.
Pero salió del tribunal, fue detenido afuera.
But as he walked out of the courthouse, he was detained.
En cuestión de minutos, nuestra alegría se convirtió en un trauma y nuestras vidas cambiaron durante 6 meses. Mis hijas han vivido sin su padre. He tenido que responder preguntas que ninguna madre debería de tener que responder.
In a matter of minutes, our joy turned into trauma. Our lives changed. For 6 months, my daughter have lived without their parent, without their father. I have to answer questions that no mother should ever have to answer.
Durante los últimos 6 años he trabajado en la colaborativa junto con Gladys, el personal y voluntarios. En los años más duros de la pandemia estuvimos tocando puertas, ayudando a vacunar a nuestra comunidad. Mi hija Natalie y a veces mi esposo Milton también fueron voluntarios y me ayudaron. Creímos en proteger a nuestra comunidad.
For the past 6 years, I work on a Colaborativa alongside Gladys' staff and volunteers. During the hottest years of the pandemic, we went door knocking, helping people get vaccinated. My daughter Natalia, and sometimes my husband Milton volunteer as well. We believe in protecting our community.
Confié en nuestra policía local.
I trusted our local police department.
Confié en nuestras cortes.
I trusted the court.
Hoy tengo un caso en la Corte Superior porque una de mis hijas fue víctima de un crimen horrible.
Today I have a case in Superior Court because one of my daughters was the victim of a horrific crime.
Hoy en día estoy aterrorizada.
I am terrified.
Sorry.
It's okay. Take your time.
Estoy agonizando sobre si continuar el caso contra el violador. No porque no quiero justicia, sino porque tengo terror en entrar a una corte.
I am agonizing over whether to continue pursuing justice against her rapist. Not because I do not want justice, but because I am afraid to walk into a courthouse.
Porque la última vez que mi familia salió de una corte con esperanzas, a mi esposo con esperanza a mi esposo se lo llevaron.
Because the last time my family walked out of a courthouse with hope, my husband was taken away.
Y por eso les pregunto,
So I ask you,
¿cómo le enseño a mis hijas que el sistema de justicia está para protegerlas y no para victimizarlas de 2 veces?
how do I teach my daughters that the justice system is there to protect them, not to victimize them twice?
La justicia no puede existir donde hay terror.
Justice cannot exist where there's terror or fear.
Las cortes deben de ser lugares de justicia, no de miedo.
Courts must be a place of justice, not of fear.
Ninguna madre debería tener que escoger entre buscar justicia para su hija o proteger a su familia.
No mother should ever have to choose between seeking justice for her child or protecting her family.
Por favor, pasen esta ley, mantengan a los agentes de inmigración fuera de las cortes, fuera de nuestras vidas, y así yo podré hacer justicia en contra del violador de mi hija. Y eso sí sería justicia, la justicia en que siempre yo creí y he confiado.
Please pass the bill. Keep immigration agents out of our courts, out of our lives, so I can seek justice against my daughter's rapist. That will be true justice. That's the justice I have always believed in. Thank you. Thank you. Gracias.
Thank you for your testimony.
Mr. Chairman, just one last comment. 87 arrests took place in the Chelsea District Court in December alone.